Risk of if you get an initial infection, cold, flu, COVID, what are the risks that you might end up in the hospital? For cold, nobody usually ends up in the hospital. Okay, I suppose if you're extremely immunocompromised, there's a possibility you could get a little more sick. But in general, nobody ends up in the hospital, so we don't have to worry about that. With the flu, the factors that can increase your risk of ending up or having for you to go to the hospitalization would be things like your age. For example, those who are over the age of 65 have a much higher risk with the flu to end up in the hospital. Those who are unvaccinated, those who have other medical conditions like asthma, diabetes, heart disease, those women who are pregnant are at a higher risk if they get the flu to end up in the hospital. Children below the age of 5, especially if they're below the age of 2, if they get the flu, they can have a higher risk of ending up in the hospital. As far as COVID, what are the risk factors for you to get, for the disease to progress and for you to end up in a higher risk for you to end up in the hospital? There are certain medical conditions that you may have. Some of them, for example, diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, if you're unvaccinated, and age. The older you are, now before, used to be over the age of 65, but with the Delta virus, we were actually seeing people in their 50s and 40s, who are actually coming up into the hospital. But generally, over the age of 50 or 60, that's when your risk increases quite significantly. And if you have a condition that weakens your immune system, for example, if you're on chemotherapy for cancer, if you're on long-term steroids, if you're a transplant patient, if you have a hematologic malignancy like lymphoma or leukemia, your immune system is already very weak. You may have problem fighting off the virus, and the virus can multiply and progress. And really, any chronic medical condition of the heart and the lung can increase your risk of hospitalization.